Hello, here's another ski review for you. Today I'm going to talk about Windham Mountain Club. A couple interesting things. First of all, Windham is it's one of my favorite mountains to ski, and I probably won't be skiing there this year because it's no longer on Icon, but you never know, I might. It's on my way up to a lot of different places, and I really, really like skiing there. Unfortunately, a couple years ago, it was decided, I don't know who decided it, but I'm not going to look into that to such a great extent, but it was decided to become a private club. Yes, so there's a $200,000 initiation fee and a $9,000 per year. This is based on what they originally did in 2024, so it may have changed a little bit by now, but it's not easy to find all the information. I looked it up as much as I could, like $9,000 a year membership fee. So the goal there is to keep the mountain less crowded. Now that it is still open to skiers and snowboarders, but you can't just expect it'll always be open. What they're trying to do is limit the access so it's never overcrowded. That's in a way that's a good thing, but I think those fees are ridiculously high. So unless and for some people that's probably chump change, as the expression goes, but for other normal people, it's a lot of money. So for especially for that mountain. It's a good mountain, but we're not talking about Killington or somewhere like that. But still, okay, so that's just some background about it. It's in the Catskills. Looking at this map, it's like right up here in Windham. Yeah, so you can go up 87, like 2 hours outside of New York City. For me, it would be 2.5 hours from where I live. There's several other mountains around here too, including Hunter and Bel Air. So there's several, and then if you go up further north, there's West Mountain, and then you get to the Gores and the Whiteface, etc. So it's on your way up to Albany, which I'm so used to driving up here, going to Vermont to ski. But let's take a look at this mountain. As far as let's start with parking and amenities. I've never had an issue with parking. Again, it may be because they're limiting the amount of skiers and boarders that can go there, but it's actually a pretty nice, easy place to park. On a weekday in particular, you can park pretty close. It's very easy to access the main lodge. Main lodge has plenty of room to get change, including individual changing rooms, which I always love. When I want to change out, I don't have to go to the bathroom into a stall to change my clothes. Especially if you're driving a couple hours out, you don't necessarily want to be wearing your ski clothing in a nice and cozy, warm car. Food access is really good. Good options, store, everything. It's a really, really great place. And one of the things that was odd for me was I always enjoyed the music they played there. It was always awesome. Whoever was the DJ or in charge of selecting their music was always great. I loved it. In terms of where do I go skiing? Again, I'm a skier, so I talk more about skiing. Well, there's several different options here. So so in this area here, you have some areas that are used for racing. So I always like to go in those areas myself. You have some really long trails, like going down here. This is a lower Wipeout and Windfall. You got some really cool terrain here. You got some nice double blacks up here. Uh, The Wall and Wolverine. I like Wolverine. That's a nice wide trail. It's steep and it runs into lower Wolverine, and then you get back to the bottom. What I usually will do is I'll lap this area here. I've gone to most of these, but my favorite is Wolverine. I, this Windfall can get a little tricky. It's this kind of a black within a blue square. So this is a kind of getting a little bit between a blue and a black. I like that designation, but I find this one it's narrower, right? So and if it's crowded, well, I've never actually seen it really crowded, but if it is, it could be a little bit more tricky for somebody who's not used to that kind of terrain. But so these areas are more for people who just want to have a little bit more fun, a little different kind of adventure in their skiing. Um, I do like to do laps here to warm up, and especially since we have, it says warm up, actually, that's cool. Especially since there's a little racing area here. So if a carve user, this is a really good area to use carve. So I'm a carve user. So that's that computerized technology you can use to gauge your skiing performance. And so I love using it on slopes that are designed for racing because that's where you can do some really nice carving. So that's really nice here. I also like going up to this area here, Upper Whistler and Lower Whistler. Those are fun runs, right? They're really nice wide runs. Usually I'll come up over here, either go down Whistler Chute or what is this, Warpath Chute, and then just go down. Lots of different options here. This is also a pretty wide area. Underneath the lift, you have the wall, you have these nice moguls here. If you don't mind people watching you, if you like people watching you, that's kind of cool. Yeah. Wraparound is nice if you just need a warm up. I also like going here to this different area because here you got a really like the East Peak Express World Cup is an awesome run. It's a really, really awesome run. You can make a lot of nice turns there. These three are great. Why not? Winging it. These are all fun trails to run. And again, you have this really, really nice long trail that you can do. So like days when I want to just practice stuff, like do different kind of different kind of turns or do one leg drills. So you can do them over here because it's relatively flat. And then there's a couple minor little hills, but it's a nice area to do a lot of practice. So what we could do is like you can take this east. Well, I guess you can start. Usually I start the warm-up run here on White Way Express Quad. Just do a quick warm-up if I need one. And then from here you can catch the a trail down to East Peak Express, and from there you can pick and choose if you want to do a longer warm-up, do the Wanderer, and then start playing around here. You want to hit these before, again, it's never going to be really crowded before it gets crowded though. The only time you have to worry about crowding in these places is when the ski school is not ski school, but the racing teams are playing around. So do have a racing program here. Like I've gone on holidays when I didn't know there was holidays. Like the kids in New York get different holidays than they do in Pennsylvania. They're more like New England where you get this special week in winter, and then those kids are everywhere. And then you got to be careful for them. So if you want to do things like, hey, I want to have a nice long wide trail to practice some really long turns, not short turns, you might have some difficulty when there's a lot of kids flying around there. Kids when they ski, they or board, they don't care about what's going on. It's a nice picture here. I've never had a bad experience there. I've skied at different times of the year. Again, it used to be on Icon, so I'd go there pretty frequently, especially if I'm heading north. Like once I was doing this Super G at Gore Mountain, and I stopped here the day before. That day it was sticky and warm because I came late and it was a warm day, and I was having a hard time because it was so sticky. But the next day turned out to be really nice up at Gore. But I would recommend this. Again, you probably have to pay whatever full price is. I'm sure they'll have good discounts at some point during the winter. It's really worth it. It's because it's so far away from New York and Philadelphia. This is going to most likely require an overnight stay. Although I know people who like to drive up and down in one day, or it could be a place to stop on your way up to Vermont or some of the bigger mountains in New York. I think it's a great place. And it's sad that it's not an icon. I was kind of bummed out when I heard that this year. I'll say one thing. It has one thing Wyndham has that's really good is an adaptive ski program, a whole dedicated area for adaptive skiing. So if you know anybody who needs adaptive skiing, so that's people who have some sort of a handicap and prefer to ski, whether skiing blind or whatever. Great program. I know somebody who works there regularly, and it's just amazing. So it's a great place, and I'm just wish it was on Icon. It was still on Icon or Epic or something. But they made their choice, and there may be like if you're a professional ski instructor or snowboarder, you can go and use when they have events there because there's still events there. So that might be one way to get around some of these restrictions. but it's a fun place, and I highly recommend it if you get a chance. And plus, that area around there, super beautiful. A lot of history too. All right, thank you.